afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome, Democrats, to the fairgrounds. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being Democrats. Thank you for whatever you do for other Democrats and other Democratic candidates. We will have a short program today, and for the purposes of serving as the Master of Ceremonies, let me introduce an Assistant Majority Leader in the House of Representatives, Representative Lou Lang. Lou Lang.
Thank you, Mike Madigan, a great leader for Illinois. Welcome to all of you. Welcome, Democrats. So I'm here today to thank Bruce Rauner. Why am I here to thank Bruce Rauner? Look around you. The Democratic Party has never been as organized and as energized as it is right now. We have a battle going on here in Springfield. It's not a battle of power. It's not a battle of Madigan and Cullerton versus Rauner. It's a battle about values. Our values. The people's values. On Good Friday, Bruce Rauner cut aid to immigrants, to child care, to epilepsy, to autism. In fact, it was World Autism Day. He cut all of those benefits on a day that no one was working and no one knew about it. And when they came to work Monday, all those offices were closed. 2 days later, he gave $100 million in tax breaks to some of the largest corporations in the state of Illinois. Does this reflect the values of the people of Illinois? Darn right. We can do better. We have done better. This struggle that we're in about this budget is about those values. It's about your values. It's even about the values of Republicans that don't know what's going on here and don't believe the truth. If you talk to them about what's going on here and you say, well, you know, the other day the governor shoved some emergency rules here through to kill off child care funding in the state of Illinois, they'd say, no, he didn't. And I'm here to tell you, yes, he did. The same day he cut ambulance rates in the state of Illinois so that many of the neediest people in Illinois will not get to a hospital in time, creating havoc with the healthcare system in the state of Illinois. Would those be our values? They're Bruce Rauner's values. We can do better. We sent him a budget that reflected the values of our people, not just Democrats, but the people of the state of Illinois. And instead of using his veto pen to change that budget if he felt it needed to be changed, he simply vetoed the budget. He vetoed line items that people need: Meals on Wheels, dollars for domestic violence shelters, dollars for mental health, all gone. He would blame the Democrats in the House and the Senate for this problem. But we sent him a budget with cuts, a budget with hard cuts that were difficult to do. But instead of being responsible, he's on the Rauner turn back the clock agenda for the state of Illinois. We can do better. We have done better. There's a role for you to play in all of this. Not just to come to rallies, although you should, and not just to write checks to Democratic candidates, although you should. The role for you to play is to go out into your communities and tell the truth. Because the media, for the most part, is not telling the truth. No one here should read the Chicago Tribune. Except for grins. You want the truth, come to us. We'll tell you the truth. But then don't let the people on this stage, don't let your elected officials Don't let your union leaders be the only people sending the message. You have to tell the truth. At the gas station, at the barber shop, at the bowling alley, at the churches, at your civic organizations. Because you all have friends that don't get this. They don't believe what I'm telling you. And you have a responsibility to help us send that message. And the public opinion is turning. The tide is turning in our favor. And this is a battle that we are going to win because we will not throw the middle class of Illinois under the bus. We're not going to tell our friends in organized labor who helped build the middle class in this state, hardworking men and women, that we're going to turn our backs on them just to get a budget done. It isn't going to happen. Raise your hand if you're a member of organized labor. Give these folks a hand. The backbone of our party. We need them and we need you. Thank you for being here today. This program is going to be a good one. We have many wonderful candidates that wish to speak to you today. All of them deserve your attention. The first person, however, that I'm going to speak is not a candidate for anything. Pat Schmader and her husband Gus live in Smithton, Illinois. Pat has taken to volunteering to another level in support of her community, logging almost 10,000 hours, volunteer hours, helping deliver home meals, assisting senior citizens, promoting the labor and industry museum industry, which honors organized labor, and starting an organization that counsels youngsters who have lost a parent. Pat is here to talk about her support of senior programs and how the governor's shutdown of state government threatened services for her elderly friends. I give you Pat Schmader.
Hello. I am Pat Schmader. He forgot to tell you one thing. I'm 80 years old and proud of it. When I was asked by Jerry Costello, state representative, and I don't see him, but I knew his grandfather, I knew his father, I know him, I know his children. So that's 4 generations that I've been around. But politics has been a very interesting part of my family. My husband, he is a farmer, not a farmer as in the field. He was a lineman, not as a lineman on a football field. He climbed poles for a living and supported myself and our 3 children. Now you get in a basket, and I'm so proud. His very tools that he used is at the Labor Museum. Now, what I need to do is to get to the point. And sometimes that's hard for me to do. Meals on Wheels. I'm here because many seniors cannot be here. When you talk about Meals on Wheels, I do have knowledge about that because when I was 55, and now I'm 80, 55 years old, I started delivering Meals on Wheels on my lunch hour when I worked for the county. I got to actually see these people. You see like, oh, they don't have this or they don't have that. What they don't have is the capabilities of getting groceries to bring in to have meals. The sad part, they were happier to see me than to see the meals because somebody cared, somebody was there. We were told, if you knock on the door and they're not there, whatever you do, please, please give us a call. So it wasn't just delivering Meals on Wheels. Hopefully it was making them happy. I know a lady who is 95 years old, and she came up last week and spoke at the house. in regards to the Meals on Wheels. She found out, and we live in Smithton, Illinois, a little town outside of Belleville, Illinois, a little town across the river. And she came and explained how it's affected her. She was told 2 days before it happened. She said, well, you know, I won't be able to have the Meals on Wheels, and I'll have to go back to eating like I did before. And I said, what do you mean? I learned from her. She said, well, a can of soup. That'll do. It's here. And I said, but that's not very nutritious. She said, the Meals on Meals were. And that's what these people are going to have to do. And I understand, and I would like to say, that is because the governor vetoed the bill on Meals on Wheels. Thank you. Thank you. I refuse to use his last name. Jerry Costello's grandfather taught me, never know your opponent's name, because if you say it too much, people's going to recognize it. So to me, no respect, just the governor. Thanks again. Whoa. He also has vetoed and the funding in-home care. Some of these I've had to look up, but it's being slashed by the governor. Now that means without any income in your home being there to help you, you may have to go in a nursing home. I'm not ready to go in a nursing home. A lot of us don't want to go in a nursing home. We're going to lose our own homes. What is this man thinking? It is putting us at risk. And us, the very people that worked hard for years. And how hard we worked. Again, I mentioned my husband up on the pole. Raised his family, we paid our taxes, and we thought, aha, retirement's going to be so nice. No, a lot of these people are not going to be able to retire. And if they do, it will not be in comfort. And we worked so we could live in comfort and security and feel good about ourselves. But again, this government's action is putting all of this at losing or at risk. Now I'm going to say something about my hero. My hero is Mother Jones, if you've ever heard of her. All right. Thank you. I am so proud. If you haven't, check up on her. She's gone now, but while she was on earth, she lived for 97 years, fighting for the underdog and speaking up. She was called the most dangerous woman in America by those elites and people that would hear her. Because she'd go into a town and she'd say to the kids, don't go to work today, stick together. And she'd get arrested like that. She's buried in Mount Olive, Illinois. And we're very proud, and we should all, and if got Illinois people here, Mother Jones, Mount Olive, Illinois. And I'm very proud to say our son's last wish, when he was 30 years old, he died of cancer. And he said, Mom, I'm going to tell you what I want and you get it done. I said, tell your dad. He said, oh, he's too mad. I said, tell your wife. She's too busy, which she was. They had 2 little children. So I said, okay. We went to the cemetery and talked to a committee. They were kind of hostile a little bit at first. And then they said, whoa, wait a minute, when we started to walk away, because they said it can't be done. Because it's a historical, and that's a law. So we started to walk away, and they said, come back here. We went back there, and it was the best thing we ever did. They said, was your son bald? We said, towards the end. 2 little kids? Yeah. Donnie Schmieder died? We said, yeah. They said, bring him. We said, why? They said, every Saturday he came with those children and cut the grass here. He earned his own way. So as Mother Jones would say, and I'm ending this, pray for the dead, but fight like hell for the living. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat Schmader. Let's hear it for her. We have some members of the State Central Committee of the Democratic Party here with us. State Representative Al Riley, Greg Jose, Carol Ronan, Terry Redmond, Mark Gately, Christina Zahorik, Representative Brandon Phelps, Bill Houlihan, Shirley McCombs. We're also joined by State Senator Matty Hunter, State Representative LaShawn Ford, and I think somewhere I saw our former Lieutenant Governor Sheila Simon in the audience. We have some wonderful candidates that want to speak to you today, and we will try to keep the introductions brief so you can hear from them. The first candidate is someone you know well, someone who we believe is one of our finest public officials in the state of Illinois, and probably, no, not probably, definitely the finest Attorney General in the United States of America, consumer fighter, Lisa Madigan.
I am not a candidate. Thank you, everybody. Let me clarify, I am not a candidate for anything. I am very proud to be able to continue to serve as your Attorney General. 2 things. One, I saw Rich Miller walking around. And Rich, you're supposed to be in the golf cart, not walking around. 2, if anybody has some sunscreen they could send up to me, I would appreciate it. With that, let me say thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you to all of you for the work that you do on behalf of the Democratic Party. Every year, every election, you are the reason that we are successful. I want to be brief today because I am sitting in the sweltering sun and you are not. I want to tell you about some good news, some good things that are happening on your behalf in this state, because far too frequently there's just not enough bandwidth to hear about those things. And so I am very proud to tell you that over my time serving as your Attorney General, I've been able to bring in over $11 billion to the state of Illinois. Last year that number was $1.3 billion plus. Very important revenues in these very, very tough times. But what is as critical is making sure that we are providing the necessary services to people throughout our state who are working as hard as they can to better themselves and to better their families. And so I want to speak very briefly about a number of initiatives that you can help me on. Many of them were passed with the help of the senators and representatives who are here today, and they are sitting on the governor's desk, and they should not be vetoed. So the very first thing I want to talk about, student loan debt. 40 million Americans are struggling with over $1 trillion of outstanding student loan debt. And there are scam artists out there preying on them, telling them that they can, for a very high fee, as much as $1,200 upfront payment, reduce their debt. The reality is that's illegal here in the state of Illinois. Those services are provided for free from the federal government. I've sued over 8 companies that are running these scams. There are many more out there. We have started a student loan helpline. We still employ people who answer phones, real live people who answer phones, so that when you need the help because there's a consumer fraud problem or you've been a victim of a violent crime or whatever has befallen you, you can get the help you need immediately. So please, if your children, if your grandchildren are struggling with student loan debt, call and find out what your options are. Number 2, this is a topic I do not enjoy talking about, but it's in the news yesterday and today, and truth be told, it's there every single day. There are far too many children, men, and women who are victims of sexual violence. And there is an enormous amount that is being done that you should know about. So after years and years of working on this, oftentimes piece by piece, looking at making sure evidence kits are tested, trying to make sure we have enough sexual assault nurse examiners available in emergency rooms, trying to change the laws to make sure that those individuals that are committing these crimes do not remain in our communities, we finally said, top to bottom, start to finish, we have got to do a better job when it comes to helping people who have survived this type of terrible violence. Over their lifetime, 1 in 5 women will be a victim of sexual violence. Men are also victims of sexual violence. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this to you. This is a terrible topic, but it is one that, based on the numbers, many of you sitting here today have experienced. We want to make sure that instead of not reporting, because you don't think you will be believed, you don't think you will be supported, that instead we have the support necessary, we have the services necessary for you to rebuild your lives, and law enforcement will take this crime seriously so that those people that are committing these crimes are taken out of our communities. We do not continue to have large numbers of children who, truth be told, are some of the main victims, women, boys, and men continue to be victimized on that front. We're doing a large push right now, and we have throughout the year, to make sure that our campuses are safe. We passed a bill. I think it passed unanimously. I want to give a shout out to Senator Toy Hutchinson, who I saw walking around earlier today, for her strong support on this and her work over her lifetime on this issue. It is sitting on the governor's desk. Please feel free to call him and tell him it is important that we have standards in place in Illinois that are above and beyond what is taking place in most places in this country. All right, moving right along, I want to talk quickly about another issue that is impacting all of us. It's identity theft. It's making sure that we are protecting our financial information. I talked about it this morning at brunch. I've already had 4 people come up to me saying that either they or a member of their family have been a victim of identity theft. I'm going to put it to you this way. Since we put in place an identity theft hotline, manned by real people who answer the phones, we have had over 40,000 people reach out to us. 37,000 of them, we have helped remove over $27 million of fraudulent charges from their credit. If you need help, please call us. There is a bill sitting on the governor's desk as well that would update our data notification, our breach notification law, and our privacy laws. We passed ours very early on, 2005. It's time for an update. Much more of our information is being collected. It's being used in ways that you don't even want to know about. But when it gets stolen, you find out in a very painful way how it's being used. So please, again, feel free to text, email, call the governor's office and tell them this is an important bill that he needs to sign. Finally, I want to say this. We have a lot of older people here today, and Pat, you spoke very eloquently about the situation that many, many of our older people face. Sometimes they are alone, sometimes they are not being taken care of, but some of the worst situations that I've seen being your Attorney General is when we have people who are supposed to be in the safe care of a nursing facility and they are not being taken care of properly. They are being abused and they are being neglected. To deal with this problem, because of the number of people that have come to me and what I have seen, we passed a bill with the strong support of everybody. You know, we did it the old-fashioned way. We introduced our bill on time. We negotiated with people on all sides. And we passed a strong piece of legislation that will now allow residents and their families to make a determination if they want to put in place a camera, if they want to put in place a recording device. So if they can't be there every single day to watch over their family member, we at least know if they are being treated properly or not. And if they're not, we at least have proof and evidence to make sure that we can get our family member the care that they deserve, get the people who are not taking care of them out of that facility. Again, that bill is sitting on the governor's desk, so please feel free to call and tell him that you think that is an important option for people to be able to have. I lastly want to give a shout out to Senator Dan Biss. He is the one that helped us pass this data security bill through the Senate, and again, he did a lot of hard work on that. So we have great representatives, we have great senators, we have great elected leaders, and it is all because of the hard work that you do day in, day out, educating your friends, educating your family, educating your neighbors, making sure to get the vote out. I want to say thank you for everything that you do for Illinois Democrats. We are one, we are united, and we will win. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa Madigan. Let's hear it. Next, one of the hardest working people in Illinois government. He's got a resume so long we don't have time to hear it. But he's an outstanding public official who we all love, wins every county in the state of Illinois every time he runs. Our great Secretary of State, Jesse White.
Thank you very much, Lou, and to Speaker Madigan and to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be here with you today, and I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve as your Secretary of State for the past 17 years. I have an announcement to make, and that announcement is that this is my last tour of duty. I served in the military, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and I completed my tour of duty in the military. I am completing my tour of duty in the political arena. I served as the Secretary of State for the past 17 years, 6 years as a Cook County Recorder of Deeds, and 16 years as a state lawmaker. And so I just want you to know that I deeply appreciate you giving me an opportunity to serve. The Office of the Secretary of State is the largest office of its kind in the nation, and our mission is to provide those meaningful services to the people that they richly need and deserve. So no longer when you come to the Secretary of State's office do you have to bring your duffel bag, sleeping bag, or your lunch pail. We get you in and out in a timely manner. And then for the senior citizens, if you are 65 years of age and you want to get a state ID, the state ID is free. You don't have to pay for it. And I initiated that program when I became the Secretary of State back in 1999. Within my office, road safety, integrity, and public service is our hallmark. We want to make sure that you're treated in a manner which all of us can be proud. We've also put in place a program called the BAID device, B-A-I-I-D, breath alcohol ignition unlock device. So if you get a DUI and you still want to drive while your legal matters are being adjudicated, you will ask for this device to be placed in your car. You blow into the tube. If alcohol is detected, the car won't start. And then we double down on it. We put a camera within the automobile, so now we know who is blowing into the tube. It's called Gotcha. And so there's been almost a 50% reduction in the loss of lives in the hands of individuals who drink and drive. We want our roads to be the safest ever. And of course, we really have put a lot of emphasis upon texting while driving or talking on your cell phone while driving. That's a no-no. When you have your cell phone in your hand and you're thinking about what you're going to say, you're concerned about your sentence structure, you're concerned about your spelling and conveying the message, the question is asked, who is driving the car? No one. We want you to live a long and productive life. We want the people of Illinois to enjoy getting from point A to point B in a safe and responsible manner. The primary election is next year, and we would hope that you will commit yourself to coming out on election day and supporting the person of your choice. And of course, in the Democratic primary, there's always a battle. But after the battle is over and done with, we surround ourselves and we go out and do all we can to defeat the Republicans. I espouse a philosophy of life that says that winning is for us and losing is for someone else. For my Filipino friends who are here, mabuhay. And for my Chinese friends, ni hao. And to you, ladies and gentlemen, who are from the Hispanic community, me llamo Jesus Blanco, Secretario del Estado. And then for you, Americans, thank you for giving, thank you for caring, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Great leader, Jesse White. Let's hear it for Jesse White. Next we have a gentleman who was an outstanding state senator, worked very hard in his campaign, went all over the state of Illinois, talked to more people than you can count, and then in one of the closest elections ever in the history of Illinois. But because of the people here today, he prevailed, our state treasurer, Mike Frerichs.
Thank you, everyone, for being out here today. I am not a candidate, and I'm breathing a sigh of relief. It was a long race last year and went a couple weeks longer than we planned. But what I learned from that was you can make a difference. If you get involved in the process, if you support the candidate that you believe in, you can make the difference between winning and losing. What I've also realized serving in office now is there are consequences to elections. And that at a time when some people want to look at cutting funding for higher education and slashing funding for MAP grants that help those poor people attain some education, we like using our office to help give people access to higher education. Thank you. And at a time when some people are proposing cutting retirement security, we're going to put a new program in place that's going to help provide retirement security for people. So in their golden years, they can truly live out their lives. And for those families who have a special child with a disability, with some sort of special needs, I think many of those families are afraid right now. Afraid that the services and the service providers, their funding is being cut, and they're wondering, what are they going to do? We're going to put a new program in place in the Treasurer's Office to help those people invest in their children. So, I am excited to do those things, but those aren't problems just in the state of Illinois. Problems of college affordability, problems of providing for your children and retirement security are national issues. And it's true, I don't have a race in 2016, but I know that by getting involved in a race, we can make a difference. And that's why I've chosen to get involved in Hillary Clinton's campaign for president. And I would encourage you to as well. Many of you may think, oh, I know Hillary Clinton. She's been around for years, but I encourage you to take a closer look. I recognize many faces who were here this morning at the brunch when the Attorney General Madigan talked about her record of accomplishment. We could go on for a long time. But I'll tell you why I'm excited about Hillary Clinton. As someone who cares very much about creating opportunity for our young people, when she put out her plan to make sure that we reduce the cost of college education, that we take a radical approach to make sure more Americans, regardless of their income level, are able to get the skills they need to have a good job, that's someone I want to follow, and that's someone I want to help make a difference with. And when people get that good education, they want to have a good job. It's part of leading the American dream, and she's someone who believes in fighting for everyday Americans so that they can not only have jobs, but jobs with good wages. That's why she's fighting for an increase in the minimum wage. That's why she's fighting to grow companies and jobs here in this country, and it's why I'm going to work for her and to help make a difference. Because if we get her elected, it's going to make a difference for all of us. And as the father of a 6-year-old daughter, my daughter is frequently on my mind. And a lot of people forget that Hillary Clinton started her career working as a lawyer for the Children's Defense Fund. And children have always been something that she has fought for. And she's going to fight to make sure that we have quality preschool for every 4-year-old in this country. As a father of a young child, I know how important that is. And that's why I'm going to volunteer in her campaign, and I'm going to make a difference so that she can make a difference for everyone in this country. I remember that day very well. Nearly 7 years ago, when I saw my baby daughter for the first time. And I saw her as she took her first breaths, and she screamed, and I have a distinct impression of what I thought. I want her to have whatever it is she wants in life, whatever opportunity she wants. And I look at an opportunity now we have to elect the first woman as President of the United States, and I think I want to set a good example for my daughter. I want her to know that whatever she wants to do in life, she will not be held back by her gender. She can do that. And that's another reason why I personally am supporting Hillary Clinton. I encourage you to go check her out. You may think you know her, but check what it is she's fighting for, and I'm sure you will find something that you agree with. And if you get out over these next year and a half and you work hard, we will have positive change in this country, and we'll see that with President Hillary Clinton. Thank you very much for coming out here today. Enjoy the rest of the fair.
To move the microphone, Treasurer Mike Frericks. Every one of you here knows someone who's not registered to vote, don't you? Get them registered to vote real quick, soon, because we're going to need their help. The next candidate is Congresswoman Cheri Bustos, a great leader in Northwest Illinois. Congressman Bustos.
Thank you, Lou. Is anybody hot out there? Okay, we had 16 speakers this morning at the breakfast. Anybody there? 4 of them finished within their time limit. I had 3 minutes to speak, and I finished in 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So I got one story for you. I represent the northwestern region of Illinois. That includes Rockford, the Quad Cities, and you can shout out if you're from any of these areas, and Peoria. And then a lot of towns in between, 14 counties, 7,000 square miles. But this is my hometown. This is where I grew up, Springfield, Illinois. And I'm a fair girl, and I have deep faith that if you're a Democrat and you love the fair, you're going to succeed. Because here's my personal story. My first paid job was when I was 11 years old. It was 1972. And I sold lemonade shake-ups on the main drag of the state fair. And I also sold tacos on the main drag of the Illinois State Fair at a stand called Flanagan's Tacos. So they were real Mexican tacos. And here I am in Congress. So there's my story. I went from the fair to Congress, and I want to thank all the good Democrats in the state of Illinois. I do want to encourage you, we got to get motivated for 2016. We've got to be motivated. Do we want Donald Trump? What about Jeb Bush? And what about Scott Walker? All right, let's get motivated for 2016. Thanks, everyone.
Congresswoman Cheri Bustos, she needs your help. Next is a former colleague of mine from the Illinois House, has done a great job in Congress, hit the ground running. A good favorite of mine, Congresswoman Robin Kelly.
Good afternoon, Democrats. I bring you greetings from the 2nd Congressional District of Illinois, the South Side of Chicago, the South Suburbs, a piece of Will, and all of Kankakee County. I hope all of you are having a great time, but you know when you leave here, you have to get to work tomorrow. You have to register people to vote. You have to convince them to vote, take them to vote. And despite what Lou said, we need your money too. You can send me his because I need it if he doesn't want to. But please, we need to bring as many Democrats back to the House and the Senate in Springfield, and we need to be able to move him out the House when his time comes in a few years. We also need your help in the federal government. When I think about us, we are constipated. We are not moving anything. When people ask me about Springfield and Washington, I said I came from the House with the strong speaker with the fist, and I went to the speaker with the weak wrist. And it is not fun. So we need your help. We need your time. We need your donations. We need you knocking on doors. We need your enthusiasm. There's a lot of great candidates, and I'm not going to tell you who to be for, but whoever you're for, work hard for them. But after the primary, we all need to come together to make sure Illinois is blue and the United States is bluer. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Robin Kelly. We need these folks back in Congress to take back the Congress of the United States for the people. The next candidate is a candidate for President of the United States. He's recently run for public office in the city of Chicago. He wants to address you today, Dr. Willie Wilson.
I want to say good evening to everybody. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. I am running for President of the United States of America and the Democratic Party for president. My agenda and platform is basic, simple. Economic development, education, public safety, equal opportunity for all citizens of America, equal pay for equal women's and equal pay. So I'm new at it. I'm not a politician. I'm a business person, and I ask for your support. You'll hear more about me into the future. Let me also thank the people here who allowed me this opportunity to come up and address you, get an opportunity to at least see me and know who I am. Basically, we'll be in our lot. And down in South Carolina, we've been over 30 different states, and I intend to campaign a lot in Chicago. Again, God bless you all, and God bless America, these United States of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, Willie Wilson. Vicki Mosley is a former Democratic state representative and a colleague of mine and a mother of 6 children from Springfield. Her son Stephen is 19 years old and was diagnosed on the autism spectrum when he was 9. He's been receiving services through the autism program in Springfield for the last 10 years. Recently, he's been volunteering at TAP, observing younger children on the spectrum and organizing a role-playing game day for young people his age. Vicki and Stephen are here to talk about the vital services TAP provides in Central Illinois and the difficulties they now face as a direct result of Governor Rauner's government shutdown. Vicki and Stephen.
Hello. In 2003, the General Assembly created the Autism Program, TAP. In 2014, there were more than 45,000 school-age children on the autism spectrum just in Illinois. That year, TAP served residents from every one of the state's 102 counties and managed this with less money than they'd been allocated in 2008. And now the governor wants to completely eliminate funding. TAP provides services not covered by Medicaid or insurance, such as social skills classes. TAP helps families by providing education to the parents, teachers, and even local police. TAP works to ensure that Illinois is a safe place for children on the autism spectrum. Stephen started TAP when he was 9. There we received a wealth of information about the condition and hope. We feared for Stephen's ability to make it in the real world. At 9, he had no friends. He had trouble just sitting in classroom, much less concentrating on subjects. It hasn't been easy, but there's been great progress. That's why we're here today, to stand up and speak for TAP and the good it's done, and to ask for your support, to plead with the governor to please restore funding for this program. In a lot of cases, Stephen, your turn.
Yeah. Kind of starting my part, huh? Stephen Victor Mosley, everyone. In a lot of cases, autism is painted as a weakness and sometimes as an insult. That really makes me mad because that's not what autism is. It's not a sign of stupidity, it's just a sign of being socially inept. But the thing is, you can be taught social skills and what people expect of you. You don't have to change who you really are, and you can learn how to fit in around others. The premise of TAP is very simple. Help people with autism learn to adapt to modern society. Its purpose is not to cure autism, it's to educate about autism to people who have it and who don't. I don't see autism as a weakness. I don't see it as a disability in the normal sense. Does it give you problems? Yes, but it usually comes with the side effect of being very smart. This summer I observed and worked with some of the younger kids at TAP. I wanted to help those younger kids adapt and learn with autism, not against it. Because they'll find that what benefits they do have from being autistic will help them a lot in the long run. However, if we get rid of funding, we won't be able to help those children as effectively as we could before. We needed that money to help them, and we needed it yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki and Stephen. It's easy to see the impact of Bruce Rauner's failed values on the people of the state of Illinois, isn't it? Next, we have a series of candidates for the United States Senate. We start with a congresswoman who has a story that's well known to all of you. She served as the director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, nominated by President Obama to be the Assistant Secretary of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. She's done a wonderful job in the United States Congress. Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth.
Hey everyone, good to see everyone. I've got to give a shout out for those of you who don't know who all these great people in the blue hats are. This is the Chinese Mutual Aid Society folks. Way to go, guys. Thanks for coming down. Little known fact, the Asian Americans are the fastest growing population in the United States by percentage. They are also the population that turned out at over 80% for President Obama in 2012. We can do it. So, my opponent, Mark Kirk, was a no-show at the state fair this year. And I don't blame him, seeing how his chief of staff is the new governor's chief of staff. His team is the governor's team. He may want to distance himself from a governor who is not doing right by working families across this great state. And let me tell you who those working families are. A lot of them are union families. A lot of them are members of labor. And I will stand shoulder to shoulder with our friends and our family members in labor, because you are the ones who made the middle class in this great nation. So who are members of labor? Well, it's the nurse that helped deliver your baby when she was born in the hospital. It is a public school teacher who educate your children in our great public schools. Why would we want to cut funding for our public schools? Why would we want to shut them down, as opposed to investing in our great public school teachers so that they have the resources to do what they need to do to take care of our kids and help educate the next generation? Members of labor are the ones who repair our roads, who help build our homes, who bring us our mail, and at the end of our lives, they're the folks who are there as the nurses' aides in the retirement homes to help take care of us, and especially in the 4 Illinois Veterans Home, our great heroes of this state, the veterans of Illinois. That's who labor is. And I cannot believe that this governor would go after it. Well, I can, because he's never had the interests of the working families in this country and in this state at the forefront. He's about giving cuts and breaks to the large corporations, just like Mark Kirk. When I travel the great state of Illinois, at no point do I have someone coming up to me and saying, Tammy, I hate my Medicare. Could you please get rid of it for me? Because it's just, it's not doing enough for me. Well, you know what? Mark Kirk, time and again, has voted to end Medicare as we know it. I've never had someone come up to me and say, Tammy, $10.10 an hour, that's just too much money. That's $22,000 a year. Can you cut my pay and make sure you give the breaks to the large corporations? Because that's just way too much money. I don't know what to do with $22,000 a year. Well, let me tell you what. If you have a question as to where the priority should be, go to Bloomington, Illinois, because I was just there, and talk to them about that Mitsubishi plant, where after decades of getting tax credits and tax holidays and subsidies, after all, moving their factory overseas and abandoning all of those good, hardworking American Illinoisans who spent decades helping them become a productive and profitable company. And you know what? They're not offering to give those tax dollars back to the people of Bloomington. We can do better. We can certainly do better than Mark Kirk, someone who's voted party line time and again. I'm going to close by saying this. I hope you will get out there and work hard, not just for me, but everyone up and down the ticket. We've got a tough election fight in 2016. There are great Democrats all across this great state, but I am the right person to go up against Mark Kirk, and I will take him down. Thanks, everyone.
One more time for Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth. Our next candidate for the United States Senate has spent her life being a change agent, fighting for stronger communities, better schools, and safer streets. She was the CEO and president of the Chicago Urban League. She served as the first woman and first African American as the first assistant state's attorney in Cook County. and is a prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office. I bring you Andrea Zopp.
Hello, everybody. Happy Democrat Day. This morning, she's heard we had 16 speakers. I was number 15. I think I got a little bit better lineup today, but not much, so I'm going to be brief. My name is Andrea Zopp, and I am running for the U.S. Senate in Illinois. I am running for the U.S. Senate because I have spent my entire career working on the issues that are going to move the needle for people and families in Illinois. I spent 2 years as a prosecutor working to protect people from crime and abuse. I spent years in the business sector, so I know not only how businesses make the decision to invest and where to invest, but most importantly, how to hold them accountable so that when we invest our tax dollars in them with incentives and they decide to leave and not keep employees here, we can hold them accountable. I spent the last 5 years working in the community at the Chicago Urban League, helping people find jobs, helping businesses grow, and most importantly, helping our young people stay on track and in school and getting results. I'm running for the U.S. Senate because I am a product of the middle-class values of hard work and access to opportunity that underlie this Democratic Party. My father was born in Mississippi. My grandfather and my grandmother worked hard to get him the access to opportunity and education that he needed, despite being constrained by Jim Crow laws that prevented, for example, my grandfather ever being able to vote in Mississippi, something he regretted his entire life. But they fought for my dad, and when he couldn't get the education he needed in Mississippi, they sent him here to the great state of Illinois, to Chicago, where he graduated from Inglewood High School. And then after the World War II, and he served as a veteran in World War II, he used those GI benefits from the government to go to law school, and then he met my mother, and she worked as a police officer, as a teacher, and they worked to give me the access to opportunity so that I could go to college. And I learned that I had to work hard, not only in school, but to pay for school. I helped pay for college, I paid for law school, I bussed tables, I waitressed, I bartended, I cleaned houses so that I could then come here, help take care of my family, and stand here today to be a candidate and ask for your vote for the United States Senate. But here's the issue in Illinois. That door to opportunity that opened for my father, that my father and mother's hard work opened for me, is closing for too many. We have declining middle class. We have growing wage disparity in our country. We are quickly becoming a country of the have and have-nots. We need leadership that is grounded and experienced, that has a demonstrated commitment to dealing with these difficult issues, and that has a track record, most importantly, of getting results. I have been working in difficult environments, in challenging environments with difficult people my entire life and getting results. And I don't know, but what I can tell about Washington is there's a lot of difficult people to work with there. So I'm going to go to Washington and work for everyone in the state of Illinois, across the state of Illinois, for all the people of Illinois, to ensure that every family, every child, every person in this state has the access to opportunity and to succeed. That is the core of our values in the Democratic Party. I appreciate you being here today. I hope that you'll come out and vote. I hope that you'll give me your support. I'm Andrea Zopp. I'm running for U.S. Senate. Thank you.
U.S. Senate candidate Andrea Zopp. Next candidate for the United States Senate is a gentleman who's a Cook County commissioner. He won his race in a difficult race against people who fought hard to make sure he did not win. He prevailed against odds. He's here to talk to you today about his candidacy for the United States Senate. Richard Boykin.
Let the church say amen. Come on now, I know we got some Bible-believing folks in here. Let the church say amen. I'm Richard Boykin, and I'm glad to be here today. I want to thank Speaker Madigan for his leadership. The good book says that where there is no vision, the people perish. I'll say it a little bit differently. My people perish for lack of a vision. Well, we in the Illinois Democratic Party don't have to worry about perishing because we got the leadership of Speaker Michael Madigan. Will you all give him a big round of applause? Come on, y'all can do better than that. He's our speaker. He's standing up for us. You know, I can't help but be here in Springfield and think about Abraham Lincoln. He left a rich legacy that's very instructive for us today. And you know, one of the things that he said that I like a lot is that he said you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And that's instructive for us today. I formed an exploratory committee to actually look at running for the United States Senate. From East St. Louis to Effingham, from Metropolis to Markham, from Cairo to Chicago. I hear people saying we are fed up. We're fed up with the status quo. We're fed up with business as usual politics. We're fed up with budgets that exclude us. We're fed up with people who look at Social Security and they look at Medicare as mere budget items and a line item. We're fed up with people who don't put people first. The people are saying that we want a senator who's going to listen to us. And so I've been all across the state, and we'll make a decision by September 9th. But what I can tell you is this, that Illinois deserves a United States senator who will stand for the working class. We deserve a United States senator who will protect our purses and wallets on Main Street and protect our pensions on Wall Street. We deserve a United States senator who will stand up for us and who will speak out for us. We deserve a United States senator who will deal with the persistent problems that exist in communities all throughout the state of Illinois, whether it be gun violence in Chicago or whether it be joblessness in East St. Louis. We deserve a United States senator who's going to work with passion, who's going to work with energy, and who's going to give it their all. And so I'm glad you're here today, because you are like the light of the world, a city set upon a hill whose light cannot be hidden, nor do men take a lamp and light it and put it underneath a bed, but rather they put it on a lampstand so all who are in that house can see. This is our house. This is our moment to transform our political discourse, to have a real debate about the issues and put the people of Illinois first. That's what I plan to do. Let your light so shine that all the world may see the good works of God in you. Let your light so shine that we will attract people to the Democratic Party and that we will transform the state. I need your help. I need your prayers. Thank you so much again, Richard Boykin. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thanks.
Richard Boykin, candidate for the U.S. Senate. Our final candidate for the U.S. Senate is a Illinois state senator, hardworking, represents his community as well as any state senator in the state of Illinois. He wants you to consider him for the United States Senate, Senator Napoleon Harris.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. I am so delighted and happy to be here with my fellow Democrats. Give me a round of applause, Democrats. As I was sitting here reflecting and listening to the other speakers, it brought great joy to me to be able to represent the Democratic Party in the state Senate. And on yesterday, I was so glad to take part in and override the veto of this Governor, Bruce Rauner. The override was important because we stood up for working families. And like most times when you go out and you get into a fight, we as Democrats, we don't stay down. So on yesterday, our Democratic chamber in the Senate, we stood up and we fought back. So this coming primary, we're going to stand up and fight back. Let me hear it, Democrats. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. This election is important because we in Illinois are at a crossroads. You look across the news media, you see CNN, you see Fox News, and you see 17 candidates running for the United States president on the Republican side. They're trying to turn the clock back. Here in Illinois, we're trying to turn our progressiveness backwards. in the turnaround agenda. I want to earn your respect and earn your vote for United States Senator because I know I can lead. And as we all stand here together united as Democrats, we believe in the American dream. The American dream is at stake. As a young boy, I dreamed of living in a big house, living in a White House with a picket fence and a dog named Ruff. That dream is at stake. As a young man, I didn't know and realize that I had an opportunity to receive that dream. But fortunately for me, I listened to my mom, who one day asked me one simple question: who's the smartest in your class? That resonated with me because at the time I said Tiana or Tiffany, because at the time I didn't believe in myself. So she instilled a confidence in me and instilled in me that education was important. So as the next U.S. Senator from the great state of Illinois, I plan on fighting for education because I believe that every young man or young woman who grow up in this great state deserves an opportunity to have a fair education. When you go to colleges, you see young men getting student loans. You see them getting immersed credit card debt. Then he leaves college and he goes out and he can't get a loan for a house. He can't get a job. That is what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting to make sure that the working class rises to the top. And with you and your support, we're going to stand up and fight back. Thank you, Democrats. We're looking forward to your support in the 2016 election.
Let's hear it for Napoleon Harris, candidate for the U.S. Senate. Our next two candidates are candidates for Illinois Comptroller. They both wish to run for an office where we have an accidental comptroller who describes herself as the wingman for the governor. Is that the kind of independent voice we need in a constitutional office? I don't think so. Our first candidate is an Illinois state senator, a former Illinois state representative, one of our most thoughtful and brightest members of the Illinois Senate. He's an expert on economic growth, pension reform, many other issues. Recently, it took 2 years to pass the Illinois Secure Choice Savings Program, an opportunity for those who don't have a pension plan to save for their retirement. Let me present to you Illinois State Senator Daniel Biss.
Thank you, Leader Lang. Good afternoon, Democrats. It is a joy to be here with you today. As Lou said, I'm Daniel Biss. I'm state senator in the 9th District. And it's a little bit, frankly, surprising I wound up in politics. I used to teach math, never thought I would do this with myself, and saw a state that not only needed help, but needed an ability to focus on what the decisions we were making would do to the middle class and to ordinary families. Based on that decision, I got involved in politics. I started as an activist. I ran for state rep. I figured that I could probably win my home district with about 52% of the vote. Ran a good race and wound up coming a few points short. It was a hard loss, but I was lucky enough to have a chance to run again. And now I'm in the 5th year of service in the Illinois General Assembly. It has been an honor. It has been a joy. As Lou said, we've had a chance to enact a first-of-its-kind law in the nation to give private sector workers in Illinois who have no other shot at a secure retirement an ability to save for their own retirement. We are leading the way, pointing the rest of the country the wave of the future in retirement security and lifting up the middle class here in Illinois. But I have to tell you, my job as a state senator changed an awful lot on January 12th when we got ourselves a new governor. It changed a great deal. And it's a little bit hard to talk about life in Springfield under this new governor because it's hard to talk about it without sounding like you're exaggerating. Let me give you an example. I had a press conference a couple weeks ago to talk about the fact that because of Governor Rauner's shutdown, we have not been able to fund the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children, a program that literally enables us to feed infants in poor families. And so we have a situation where because of this governor's actions, literally food is being taken out of the mouths of poor infants. It sounds like you're exaggerating, but it's literally what's happening. I'll give you another example. I had a conversation with the governor, back in April. We talked about right-to-work policies. I said, seems to me that you are trying to get involved in a national race to the bottom and do whatever you can to push down wages. And he said to me, Daniel, we don't have any choice. Our choice in America today is between $10 an hour jobs and no jobs at all. Which do you prefer? We, as Democrats, know there is a better way. There is a way forward that grows the economy by lifting up the middle class, not tearing them down. And the Office of Comptroller is supposed to be a budget watchdog and a fiscal watchdog that tells the truth to the people of Illinois about what the choices before us mean. Earlier today, Lou Lang talked about how on Good Friday, Governor Rauner took $26 million out of programs that help the most vulnerable. He said he was doing that because we had a cash flow problem. That is not true. It was false. The controller is the person who manages the cash flow, and she is the person who ought to have said that's not true. Instead, she acted as his wingman and just played along. We need an independent voice in this office. We need a watchdog in this office, and we need someone in this office who will stand up and tell the truth to the people of Illinois about what the impacts of these policies are. Because here's the thing. When you go out into any street corner in Illinois, in any town in Illinois, and ask people, what do you prefer? Do you want to grow the economy by pushing wages down and making sure people get paid less? Or do you want to grow the economy by lifting up the middle class? The answer is not 50-50. It's not 60-40. It's 99% saying we want to grow the middle class. And so what we need in Illinois is to set up an honest debate, and we need the state's chief fiscal officer to be the one leading that fight, telling the truth, and holding the governor accountable for the consequences of his actions. I want to be that controller. I am here to humbly ask for your support to be our Democratic nominee to be that office holder, and I know that together we can turn this around and have the right debate and have policies in Illinois that are based upon the principle that we all move forward as a state when the middle class is lifted up as one. Thank you very, very much.
Let's hear it for Senator Daniel Biss, running for state comptroller. Next candidate for comptroller is the Chicago City Clerk. She was a state representative for several terms. She took on the puppy mill industry and beat them, passed many pieces of legislation regarding the safety of animals in our communities. She's the first woman to ever be elected city clerk in the city of Chicago. She's been publicly recognized for leadership on social services, education, law enforcement, and job creation. For your present to you, Susana Mendoza for state comptroller.
Whoa, almost poked myself in the eye there. It's all fun and games until you poke your eye out, right? So hello, fellow Illinois Democrats. I hope you're enjoying Democrat Day here at the State Fair. It's a beautiful day. Can't ask for much more than today. I'm excited to share this stage, obviously, with so many of the great Democrats that came before me, and I'm really thrilled to be speaking to you. My name is Susana Mendoza, and I'm twice elected city clerk, as Leader Lang just mentioned, of the city of Chicago. And I've been honored to serve for more than 10 years as a state representative in the Illinois General Assembly. It's really, really great to be back. I'm respectfully asking for your support for the Democratic nomination for state comptroller. And while I do live north of I-80, I may indeed be the only Chicago Democrat in history to have been awarded both the Illinois Pork Producers Legislator of the Year Award, as well as the Bureau Farm County's Friend of Agriculture Award. 2 awards of which I'm very, very proud. Thank you for that. All right. So I'm also incredibly proud to introduce my family to you today that made the trip down here to Springfield. My mom, Susana, she's the original Susana. And I want you all to wish her a happy birthday because she just turned 80 this week. And I know she doesn't look a day over 65. And I'm also wanting to introduce my amazing husband, David. David and I can't tell you how blessed I feel that I am, that we've come together and now have this beautiful little boy, David Quinton Sostak, who I know looks exactly like his father, but it is true, I did birth him. It was not David. But anyway, I think this is a representative sample of what all of you know and love. And these are the folks that represent all of the people that I will be fighting for. Children, hardworking men and women. Te amo, mi amor. And also our elderly. I know what it's like because I love each and every one of them, and they're just representatives of you. You can take them down. Okay. Thanks, Mom. I believe I can combine my knowledge of state government with the executive management know-how that I've gained as Chicago City Clerk, the second largest office in the city of Chicago. And I can use that executive management know-how to ensure that the Comptroller's office is using taxpayers' money wisely, that it plays a constructive role in helping the legislature, the governor, and the treasurer manage the state's finances, and making sure that the public, all of you, are able to easily access the books, take a look at the books, and know and understand exactly how your tax dollars are being spent. What the Comptroller's office does and the impact it has on Illinoisans' lives, their lives, is about so much more than just ledgers, spreadsheets, and numbers. The Comptroller must have an appreciation for the day-to-day, everyday effects that the office has in prioritizing who will get paid and when they will get paid. As I speak, social service agencies and charities are wondering whether or not tomorrow, next month, they'll have to shut their lights off, close their doors, and stop providing the vital services that many people in Illinois depend upon. I will do whatever is in my power as your next Comptroller to look out for them. The current challenges at the Capitol encapsulate within Illinois was a national debate about what kind of society we ultimately will be. Powerful, well-funded interest groups are trying to stroke anger and fear to gain political power, power that they wish to use not for the betterment of all, but for the further enrichment of the wealthiest at the expense of the rest of us. The next 14 months will be crucial in determining what kind of state and nation we will be. Will the principle of one person and one vote yield to $1 and one vote? Will the middle class continue to lose ground while those who aspire to join the ranks of it find their pathways blocked and opportunities curtailed? Will the hard-won gains of the labor movement, which have helped to improve the wages, benefits, and the working conditions for all workers in this state, be eviscerated? Will Illinoisans who find themselves in difficulty or distress and need help be told that they're on their own and that they will just have to fend for themselves? The answer to all of those questions can be an emphatic no if we are prepared to work harder than we ever have before. The stakes couldn't be any higher as we approach 2016. Our opponents are incredibly well financed, with tens of millions of dollars flowing from all over the country in order to support the efforts against Democrats. Bless you. Bless you. Our friends in organized labor are not just under threat, folks. They are under threat of annihilation by Governor Rauner. I will push back and I will stand and fight strong on behalf of the hardworking men and women of this state. As your Comptroller, I'll serve as a watchdog and provide a checks and balance to this governor, not serve as his proud wingman on a budget that hurts the most vulnerable. We must make sure that voters understand what's at stake and appreciate the contrast between the dangerous, backwards-looking, and radical agenda that the folks who were here on this very same stage yesterday offered to the people. And offer instead the inclusive Democratic Party's belief that everyone can succeed and that we do not need to ever turn our backs on those who need a helping hand in order to achieve the financial prosperity and the economic growth that we require. I'm Susana Mendoza, and I'm extending my hand in solidarity to all of you. I ask for your support for Comptroller, and I want to remind you, I'm Susana Mendoza, and while I may be small in stature, I promise I'll stand strong for you. You guys are great. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here, and please enjoy the rest of your day, and happy Democrats Day. God bless.
Susana Mendoza, let's hear it for her. Next gentleman is a candidate for Congress in the 18th Congressional District. As you know, a certain congressperson there is no longer there. And so there's a special election to replace that congressperson. Our candidate, Rob Mellon, was born and raised in Quincy. He joined the U.S. Army, and when he left the Army, he transferred to the Illinois National Guard. He became a small business owner, active in his local community, served on the Lincoln Commission for the city of Quincy. He's hardworking, energetic, and will be an outstanding congressman in the United States Congress, Rob Mellon.
Now, I was promised the loudest ovation because I'm the last candidate speaking today. Good afternoon, and I'm so excited today to tell you that the newest member of the Democratic Party is about ready to be born because my daughter-in-law is in labor right now, and any minute I'm going to be a grandpa. But I'm here with you today, and I'm also excited to have a chance to speak after such a great group of public servants. I do truly appreciate this opportunity. As mentioned, my name is Rob Mellon, and I'm a teacher and a soldier. Those are my professions. I'm running for the United States Congress in the 18th special election, and that election is actually going on right now. Early voting has already started, and I want to encourage everyone in the 18th to go and vote, and then encourage others to do the same. That's how we can win. Now, we all know that the 18th is a very tough district, and my opponent has lots and lots and lots of money. But $2 million doesn't change the fact that Darren LaHood has not been a good leader. He's bad for our schools, having voted against every single education bill that's come his way. He's bad for the American worker, and he's bad for Illinois. And he's demonstrated that over and over again, and he did so again yesterday, voting again against the workers of Illinois. Now, I want to remind everyone that this is the only current election going on in the entire country. And we need to send a message to the rest of the nation that the road to retake the House of Representatives does not start in 2016 in some far-off district. It starts right here in central Illinois. But I need your help to do it, because I got some very big ideas, and we need some serious change. I'm going to give you a few of those ideas, but if you want more, you can go to robmellon.com. You can check out and get some more information. You know, I'm proposing a massive investment in our infrastructure to fix our crumbling roads and bridges and to create 15 million new high-paying jobs right here. You know, many of those jobs are going to be part of a WPA-style program that I'm going to propose to put our veterans to work. I want to eliminate from our collective consciousness the idea of the homeless veteran. Thank you. You know, it's not the 1930s, but I believe it's time once again for a New Deal, and I'm not afraid to say it. You know, in addition to that, you know that $2 trillion that's parked in banks in the Cayman Islands and other banks overseas? We need to repatriate that money for investment in jobs right here in the United States. And I got a message for the American businessman. I'm going to help you do it, because it's the job of a congressman not to obstruct and get in the way of progress. It's the job of a congressman to lead and, by God, get things done, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not quite done. I got a few more things. You know, in 2015 in America, we should not have women working for 79 cents for every dollar a man makes for doing the exact same thing. You know, the unions have equal pay for equal work. The military has equal pay for equal work. It's time the rest of the country got on board and caught up. If I'm elected, that's exactly what we're going to do. As I said in the beginning, I'm a teacher. And so I have some really ambitious plans in terms of education. You know, the middle class needs our help. Number one, I want to expand the Head Start program to cover every American child starting at the age of 3. You know, we're going to put our kids on an early path to success, and we're going to help working class people at the same time. You know, we can do that, and I got a plan to pay for it too. You know, we're going to start a national initiative, lower class sizes across the board by putting more teachers in the classroom. You know, I can tell you that personally because my second hour has 38 students. I don't even have enough desks. You know, I have a plan for that. You can check it out. It's a very detailed plan, and we can accomplish that too. And finally, and maybe most importantly, I am tired of American children going to bed hungry in the most prosperous, successful nation on the planet. And I can tell you one thing. We don't need another war in the Middle East. What we need is a war on hunger right here in America. And it's going to start in our schools by providing free breakfast and lunch to every student in every school, in every town, and in every state. You know, those are just a few of my ideas. These are progressive, democratic ideas, and I'm proud to stand up for them. But we're Democrats. We do not stand alone. I need your help. We can actually do it. We can fight the establishment. We can fight the big money. And with just 50,000 votes in an area of 500,000, that's all we really need, we can flip this district and add one more Democrat to the House of Representatives. Do you think we can do that? Now, we can stun the nation. Because if we can win in the 18th in Illinois, we can win anywhere in the country. And what a great message to send and a way to start the 2016 election cycle. It's a perfect way to restore honor and integrity to this seat in Illinois. And if we work and stand together, we can't lose. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob Mellon. Let's hear it for Rob Mellon, our next congressman. We have one more speaker, but he's an important speaker. We've been highlighting people throughout the day who have had things to say about the Rauner agenda and how it's impacted people in the state of Illinois. Tim Perdue is a 33-year-old college senior at Robert Morris. That's right, a 33-year-old college senior. He's a father of 2 children, grew up in Taylorville. He has extensive management background, but decided he wanted to go back to school and follow his dream of graduating college. The MAP grant program, the monetary award program, has been instrumental in working toward that goal. Tim's going to talk today about the MAP program. Tim Perdue.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. As Lou said, I'm Tim Perdue. I'm a 33-year-old senior at Robert Morris University campus here in Springfield. I am just one of over 120,000 students getting ready to go back to school this fall that rely heavily on the MAP grant and the monetary award program. I also have 2 children, ages 12 and 13 years old. There's no greater pride for me than to be able to show my children that at my age you can go back to school and accomplish those dreams that you so heavily chase. In my 2 years at Robert Morris, I have received over $20,000 in funding from the MAP program. Without this money, I would not stand here today and be able to tell you that I will graduate on December 5th with my bachelor's degree. This program was key in being able to attend a wonderful accelerated school like Robert Morris, and in turn feel confident that I will also be able to provide a wonderful life for my children that they so deserve. It is vital for everyone involved in the politics to understand the goals of making Illinois a more competitive and more compassionate state. and the value of our college education has never been more important to the future of our success. In closing, I just want to make sure to stress just how important this program is for people like myself. If not for this program, I can honestly say I would not be standing here today. So the education needs to be a focus for all of our politicians. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your state fair.
Thank you, Tim Perdue. We need the MAP grant program. Somebody tell the governor that we have to send our people to college to improve the state of Illinois. That completes our program. Thank you all for sticking with us. We're blessed with tons and tons of great Democratic candidates. Work for them, get people registered to vote, and let's send the message about this governor. We need to do that starting today. Have a great day at the fair.